I've got a question for Final Fantasy VII fans. So, I'm currently watching through a playthrough of the remake, as well as a playthrough of the original PS1 game, because I didn't grow up with the original, and I worked on the remake a little bit, just doing some background voices a few years ago. And I've always been an appreciator of Final Fantasy VII from afar. I've always known who all the characters are and the basic kind of idea of what the story and the world is. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to finally experience it for myself. And I've seen, Advent Children back in 2006, because that was a huge event. But there's something peculiar, and I don't fully know how to describe it or get it across, but I'm going to try. I'm kind of confused by the tone of Final Fantasy VII. When I watched Advent Children back when it was new, and everything was very serious for the most part, I thought, okay, I guess that's Final Fantasy, right? Then I started to see a lot more footage of the actual game that it was all based on, and it was like, oh, this is kind of kooky and a little eccentric and cartoony. And obviously there's some characters that are more serious than others, Cloud being a perfect example, and other ones that are a little more over the top and what have you. And that's all well and good, but as I'm watching stuff of the remake in particular, it's still there's still an element of it that reads as kind of cartoony to it, and I don't know if that's intentional or not. I'm not sure. It makes me question if this really serious tone that Final Fantasy exudes is what the creators intended, or if it's more so based on the interpretation that fans and players had from back when we had to use our imaginations, because of course 7 had these early low poly PlayStation 1 models, very rudimentary kind of graphics at the time. And if it's more yeah, this is what either we envisioned or what we think that they envisioned, I'm not sure. It's hard to describe. I'm just I'm kind of confused. I'm still enjoying it. As I'm watching through it, I'm still enjoying the story and the characters. I can see why they're so beloved, for good reason. But there's just something about the tone specifically that strikes me as a little confusing. And I don't know. To those of you who grew up with the original and were really entrenched in 7 and maybe know all the ins and outs of this a little bit more so, I'm just kind of curious. Let me know your thoughts.